Hello and welcome to episode 50, a landmark episode of the Blood Brothers podcast. I am joined tonight by Sean Coleman and Rob Parker.
Hello there.
Sean's drinking a beer, so he's not going to say hello just yet. Giving it the gravitas that we usually have. And,
Standard.
And tonight we are joined by Nadine Matheson, who is the author of the recently released The Jigsaw Man. Hello, Nadine.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Rob, and hello, Sean. Thank you for having me.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you for joining us this Sunday Eve.
You are so welcome. You have no idea how lucky the three of you are.
I mean, we feel it, but
with it being Mother's Day, you have no idea how much trouble I am in.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Also,
I'm joking. I think this
I don't think
Mrs. Parker actually.
I don't think.
This is how I get.
Yeah, she's just glad that I'm out of her hair for a bit.
I don't think I've cooked a succulent roast dinner as quickly or as early as I did this evening. In order to be free for chat time.
So we should say Happy Mother's Day to people that are listening. Although this will be out on Thursday, so that's rubbish. So don't say that.
He's already giving us stuff to cut, Rob.
We'll go back.
It's such a tricky day, I always think, because it's one of those days, like all days, where you go, "Why? Don't tell me to love my mum today."
Yeah.
I love my mum every day. I'm deliberately not going to love her today, just because you told me.
Reverse Mother's Day.
Well, my mum's in Grenada, so it's not even Mother's Day over there.
Yeah, so I did. I had.
It's not Mother's Day in May.
My mum's in Spain. I called her this morning. Happy Mother's Day. She went, "You what?" Mother's Day. I was like, "Oh."
I got the same thing. She's like, "Is it Mother's Day?" Oh, I didn't know. Okay, thanks. It's like, well,
yeah, but my mum's South African. She gets the hump with me if I don't call her on South African Mother's Day. But how am I supposed to know when that is? That we don't get, 6 months warning like we do here.
Yes. When the card shops and the supermarkets sort of put things out like something's coming here. I need to pick up. Is it Valentine's, Mother's Day? Which one is it?
Something's coming.
Don't get those two confused.
I know.
I like in Spain that they have a Dia de Mujeres, a Women's Day. So it doesn't. You don't have to be a mother or have a mother, or you can just be. You celebrate it for being a woman.
Cool.
I know we have International Women's Day, but Spain just go right. We're not doing this Mother's Day nonsense. Let's have it. That's Women's Day. I like it. Anyway, this is not getting the book selling done.
No, the Jigsaw Man.
Tell the book. Come on.
Please, can you tell us about the book?
I can tell you about the book. The book is about a serial killer, and it starts when body parts are washed up on the banks of the River Thames in Deptford in southeast London. And poor Detective Inspector Angelica Henley, who's basically been stuck on desk duties for over a year, she's diverted to the crime scene, and she has to meet her new trainee, who she's not too keen about, named Salim Ramuta. And they attend the crime scene and they find body parts. And then she realises that the body parts matches the MO of a serial killer called Peter Olivier, also known as the Jigsaw Killer. But he's currently doing a life sentence in prison. So she realises she's in pursuit of a copycat. And that is the start of the Jigsaw Man.
Oh, if you like your any kind of cops and serial killer story that there has ever been, I promise readers you will dig this book to absolute pieces. So
get the jigsaw pieces.
To pieces, yeah. I was trying to stay on brand. I think I managed to.
You did so well.
Yeah, so ace. Absolutely
it is.
loved it. Yeah.
How, can I ask, because I write, my books are about like a DI as well, and Rob, in fact we all have. We're all crimey people.
Yeah.
But how did you come up with the main character? Because she's very cool.
Detective Inspector Angelica Henley. She is. It's odd because I've been reading crime fiction since I was probably like 13 or 14. You're reading books you really shouldn't have been reading. 14 and 15. So, and I just thought that growing up and even now into adulthood, I hadn't seen like a detective I said looked like me. So I never seen a detective who was a black woman, even though I'm a criminal solicitor, I say during the day. And I've always seen black female detectives actually in the job. So it always seemed odd to me that I never saw it in fiction.
Yeah.
And I never, and if they were in fiction, they were like a side character. There wasn't the main protagonist driving the story. So that was like the main motivation for coming up with her. And then obviously at the time I was like similar age to her. So it would have felt odd writing a character who was younger than me, like in her early 20s. So I just thought it would have been cool to have someone already established in life. You know, he's got a family, he's got no offense to you lot, she's got an annoying husband.
I mean, that's a presumption that we are annoying.
Are we that obvious?
It's accurate.
It's a fair point. It has been mooted before across the day, was that?
Yeah.
I
mean, she's a charmer, isn't she?
Henley, I'm an absolute delight.
It's the character. Come on.
Back to Henley. Yeah, but Henley, she's got a husband, she's got a young child, and she's just trying to do what all of us are trying to do, just try and work out that work-life balance. But she hasn't got like a normal job. You know, she's in charge. But basically, she's like head of the serial crime unit, which is a unit that I created and doesn't actually exist in real life.
It's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing.
It's so authentic. I thought it was a real thing. I was like, hell, I gotta find out who these people are.
I was going to say, Rob, strike that from the draft of your next book, because
I know.
Sounds great.
It's funny though, but I've only found out, I think like a few weeks ago, that the FBI do have like a serial crime unit, but we don't have the equivalent of that in the UK.
We've got what are they called? Our major incident teams or whatever they are.
Yeah, they've got major incident teams, they've got homicide teams, and they've got the National Crime Agency, but we don't have a unit dedicated to pursuing like serial killers. So I thought that would be a cool thing to do. And I based the actual unit in the police station, which was Greenwich Police Station, which is still there. So the building's still there, but it's been shut down for donkey's years now. And I just thought how cool it would have been just to have a unit all on their own, like kind of abandoned.
Do you know what would be really, really cool is if the police went, that's a bloody good idea.
That would be.
And we've got this shitty old building at Greenwich. It's lovely. Let's put
happy building. We've got a bunch of detectives. Don't know what to do with them. Let's just dump them in there. I want the credit. If they do that, I do want the credit for that.
The building should be named after you, surely.
Yeah.
Oh, they said.
The Matheson Suite.
I'm going to say, if that happens, you can hit up for the OBE straight away, can't you? Actually naming government institutions.
I'm going straight to Dane.
Are you going to bypass all of that? Straight in.
Yeah, just Dane at the top.
I do most weekends, but that's a different story altogether.
That took me a moment. I got it in the end.
I saw you ramping up.
It took me a second. Yeah, I'm
got there in the end, Rob.
I did. It's usually
he's ever such an innocent, bless his heart.
I am really slow as well. I'm really slow.
It's Sunday night.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So where do you said so you're set in Deptford and you live in Deptford. Where do you sort of wander the streets going, perfect place for a body?
No word of a lie, I actually do. Like I've been walking around and I'll be thinking, I wonder how someone would react if they were just walking along this path and they just saw like a body part. And that's how it started when I was writing the Jigsaw Man, because the River Thames is like behind my house. It's like less than 5-minute walk from my house. And now that we've become a lot more gentrified around there, there's loads of people always walking up and down the creek. And I just thought, imagine you're just walking there with your dog or with your mate at lunchtime and you just find like a torso on the riverbank.
There's so much I need to unpack from this. Did you call the Thames a creek then?
Oh, there's a part of the Thames called Deptford Creek. So where I live leads on to Deptford Creek.
Right, sorry. because obviously, me being up north here, and we're all from. In fact, a lot of us are all from different parts of all over the place, aren't we? So, and I did not know. I thought, is that what they call it down there, the creek? In EastEnders, they go that. There's a big map of the creek at the start of EastEnders.
Yeah, all them government bods, they float in on the creek, and then they
incredible. Again, you're dealing with a simpleton, Nadine. That's the problem.
Oh, you're not.
He is.
We'll get there in the end. We'll get there.
Thank you. But that's that sense of place, though. I mean, something that I think is so important and that drags me into anything that I read that lives with me for a long time is rooted in a strong sense of place, and this book has that in bucket loads. So, and it's obvious that you have an affection for that area as well.
I do, because I grew up around here. So, when we were growing up, they always told us, don't go and play by the river. But, kids do the opposite of what their parents tell them to do. So we'd be off by the river and we would see the river police going up and down. You found rusted weapons on the riverbank, and at the time we found dead animals. So there's always stuff washing up. And then we always heard stories of, there was one story that we heard of a trunk being found on the riverbank with body parts in it. We don't know if it was true. It could just be an urban myth. But those are the sort of stories that we grew up with. So that always stuck with me. And then obviously when you've grown up somewhere and you see an area change, and you have all these new people coming in, and you're like, you have no idea. They're walking around and having lunch on the green, and you're thinking, you have absolutely no idea what it was like.
Oh, I'd like a baby Chino. This is where the foot was.
The foot was, and this is where it was.
That's amazing.
When did you kind of go, I'm going to be a writer? That's what I'm going to do.
I don't remember. This is the mad decision I'm going to make. I've always written, even though I decided to become a lawyer, I was always writing stories and got half-written film scripts that I wrote at university that didn't go anywhere because I probably watched Pulp Fiction far too many times and thought I'm going to be a film writer. So I got these scripts somewhere. Yeah. So I've always written stuff, and I was saying to my dad, I think the first thing I wrote, I was 9, and I wrote my version of The Labyrinth because I watched The Labyrinth with David Bowie, and I was like, I'm going to write a book. So I had my dad's typewriter writing this book. But it wasn't until, I think it's maybe about 2014, 2014, I took redundancy from work. So I was basically working, I'm kind of self-employed lawyer. So I found I had a bit more time to write. So, and another friend of mine, he left the profession. He writes sci-fi. So he was going into self-publishing. So and he knew that I wrote. So I wrote a short story for an anthology that he did, a sci-fi anthology. So it was from that moment I thought, actually, let me just start taking this a little bit more seriously. And then I think it was 2016, I was off work. So I had an operation, so I was off work for about 3-4 months. And the problem with me, I jump into things without thinking about it. So I was on Twitter, because I'm always on Twitter, and I saw City University. They were, there was a tweet for a crime writing competition. And all I saw, and I'm sure it's because I was on drugs, from the painkillers.
Clarify, on painkillers.
I was on painkillers. But all I saw in the tweet was, win £2,000. So send us 5,000 words of a crime novel, and you can win £2,000. And then I didn't realise, and being a lawyer, I should have read the small print, and the small print was
being a lawyer, you know.
I won't read the small print. But the small print was it was £2,000 of a bursary of the creative writing MA at City University. And then I remember talking to my brother in Japan, and I said to him, I don't want to go back to school because I teach as well. So I teach in a law school, and I thought I don't want to be teaching in the school and going and being taught again. And then he made a deal with me. It's if you win the competition, do the course. If you don't win, don't do it. So I thought, that's fine. I'm not going to win. And then about 4 months, about 3-4 months later, I got an email. Congratulations, you've won.
You're the newest student on the.
Creative writing MA. And I was like, oh shit.
A kind of bold reaction to winning a competition.
On one hand, it's like a really big like ego boost, like, oh my god, I've actually won. I mean, I've won a competition, yeah. On the other hand, it's like, I've got to go back to school, like in the evening.
And I should be sitting down in front of the telly with a nice.
I should be exactly with vodka and tonic, like watching Netflix or something.
Now I'm going to be learning about first person perfect.
Exactly. First person, second person, present tense, all this stuff.
Narrative.
But yeah, so I started the course 2016, and then as part of the course, in order to finish it, you had to write a crime novel. So the Jigsaw Man, he started off as it's a 1,000-word assignment on creating suspense. So I wrote the prologue for that assignment, and then I just thought, okay, this probably has a bit of legs. And I had Henley in my head anyway, this detective. I know, I just realised what I said.
And a bit of arm, a bit of
No.
Legs and arms and a head.
Just got to put them all together, see what's what.
And I have a book. But I had Henley in my head, so I thought this would be a good story. And also at the time, it was like around 2016, 2017, it was all psychological thrillers.
Yeah.
That was like at the height. And it seemed like serial killers and that kind of traditional police procedural kind of fall into the wayside. So I thought, well, let's bring the serial killer back also. So that's where Olivier came from. So then I finished the book, handed it in, didn't think anything would come of it. But what they did on the course, they sent extracts out of the students' work in an anthology to agents. And I honestly thought that no one's going to be bothered. I've done the course, I've got a certificate, happy days, I'll just go back to my day job. And then I think I had about 7 agents ask for the full manuscript.
Wow.
after receiving the anthology. And then I sent it off to a couple more that my tutor had recommended. And that was in November, December 2018. And then January 2019, I signed with my agent. So that was Ollie Monson from AM Heath. And then I wasn't even a month after that, it went into, less than that, it went into an auction. It went to a publisher auction. And then I signed. Yeah, it kind of feels like a bit of like a slow burner because they've been writing for all this time. But then once I signed, everything just went, it just went mad. Like, really? I wasn't expecting any of that. So I said, I just thought it would just be, yeah.
Do you find yourself every now and then just going, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, I definitely was doing the law thing a little.
I was definitely doing the law thing. I was definitely going to court. I definitely had, I had the wig, I got the gown, I got the collar. I was dragging myself up and down every single court in London and out of London. I was definitely doing that. I was definitely hanging around in police cells with people you shouldn't really be hanging around with. I was doing all of that. And now it's like I've got a book.
And now you just call it research.
Well, now it's research and very good background material. That's what it is.
And do you still have all of the contacts from the police force and everything else? Can you just call somebody and go, I got a question?
I can. Yeah. Luckily, I've got obviously there's friends who still, they work on both sides, so they do defence and they prosecute. And one of my good friends who I've known since I was 11 from secondary school, she's actually a police officer now. She started off as a senior crimes officer first. So I've got all of that.
That's really handy.
All that contact. So that's handy. Because there's stuff apparently I do not know.
Yeah,
you can't just make everything up, make it sound really authentic like this. Crimes the serial this unit made up. Yeah.
But there was occasions, I think, because I come from that criminal background, professional, not like family. But because I come from like
not mentioned the family.
Lovely.
No, not the family. That's the clarification. come from a criminal professional background, it's like I wanted to make sure I got everything right, like procedurally and legally. But there were times when I kind of like maybe like write myself into a corner, and then I just have to tell myself, you can make it up, like it is fiction, as long as it comes across as being authentic. You can make it up.
I just always go Back to the Future, DeLorean, 88 miles an hour, Russian lithium. We're fine. We can do it. Oh, don't worry, a lightning strike will fall.
Honestly, because this reads so authentic as well. So, you obviously, it worked. Whatever it was you did, it completely worked. Oh, man. Because I didn't get so far as Googling this fictional unit, but I wasn't far from it. Let's put it like that.
Where do I sign up?
Did you find
going to be people walking around Greenwich looking for? Well, they'll find the police station. There's no one in there.
Yeah,
through the window. Are you in there?
Did you find that your work in the law inspired your writing? I asked this question because for myself, right at the other end of the scale, I was a county court advocate for about 5 years. So, and I felt it was a bit like a gun for hire. You didn't really do any of the hard work. You just go in and gob off in court, really. and but you would meet the people who this directly affected. And I learned so much about people through doing that. And because people reveal themselves when they're under stress, don't they? And that. Yeah, that sort of it was like a crash course in character in a lot of ways. I felt it.
Yeah, I think I've been doing it it's probably more than that. I've been qualified for 16 years, but probably all in all, like training and stuff, I've been in criminal law for like 20 years. And the one thing you realise is that I think sometimes in crime fiction you can read books and the characters come across as being very cliched. It's like this, it's the same old criminals, the same old detective. But actually in real life, they are people. There's so many different sides to them, and your criminal. Well, I say your criminal. Your alleged criminal. He's not just the offence. He's got families and also their motivations for doing the crimes they do. This is why I think I actually like doing it so much. As I always said, you can have 20 people charged with the same offence, but every single case will be different. Every single scenario will be completely different.
I think that's the most interesting thing. Somebody asked me yesterday, why crime? Why not? Why write crime? Why not historical? Why don't you write anything else? About other things. And I'm just like, because I'm fascinated about why people do bad things to each other. Romance is a lovely thing, but I'm not fascinated by why people fall in love. That's a bit more open. Every love story is different, and every love story has a different story, and that's fine. But for me, I'm fascinated by where I hate it is, to go, oh, this guy's a criminal or this guy's an abuser because he was he was raised by a criminal or was. Yeah. And so the character I'm working on at the moment lives the most amazing pillar of society life, and he's in the PTA, and he's on the council, and he runs a successful company, and he's got a lovely daughter, and he's always on the sidelines, and he's a loving father and a loving husband, and once a year he'll kill somebody, and that's his way of exactly. And his justification.
Some people play squash.
And his justification on that was like, some people run, some people cycle, some people gamble, some people drink,
some people kill.
I kill somebody once a year. It doesn't matter who it is. The point for him is the planning of the murder, not the
that's your tagline right there, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Some people run, some people whatever, some people kill.
Some people kill.
Yeah.
But that's only 1/7 of the story of this book. So
you need 7 taglines.
But I think there is something really fascinating about why people do what they do, and that's I think always the driving question of people writing crime.
Yeah, I think that's what in a funny way. That's what's always kind of kept me in the job also, because I want to know why you do the things you do. Why did you decide to go and defraud someone out of $100,000 out of their life savings? Why? I mean, and there's certain cases where it was like a fight in a pub. There's a fight in a pub, and there's normally a reason for it. It's like, you looked at my girl the wrong way, so we're gonna have a fight in the pub. But these other cases, when you get these really big fraud cases that I've worked on, And they were, I say, they were kids who were doing it. They were like in their, I say kids, but they were in their early 20s. They were still at universities, and they were committing, they were committing big frauds. And I thought that motivation, like, how does your brain work for you not to even have any empathy at all that you're taking these people's money? And so I've always been intrigued by that. But the thing is, you never get an answer.
No,
there's no bird to answer.
That's also that intriguing thing between the spur of the moment. I've stabbed you because we got into a fight. You looked at me the wrong way, and it's escalated, and nobody knew how to back down. So now it's escalated to the point where I'm standing in front of a judge. You go, okay, that's clear. But that calculated, premeditated, go to sleep every night, knowing what you're doing, knowing what you've done. Do you genuinely just not think about other people, or do you think? I'm all right.
No, I think they genuinely don't think about other people, and they're the ones I think you have to be scared of the most, because they will quite happily, they will sit opposite you at the dinner table. They will cook you dinner, but they won't think nothing instead of robbing you of your life savings. Or I had one, and there was one case about going into detail. I mean, she completely took someone else's identity, like swore blind she was this other person. And I'm saying, and I'm looking at the prosecution case. I'm like, this is not true. Like, but no, she swore blind she was this person, and it's that mindset. That's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, that's and just with exactly what you've said there, because that like made my eyes go wide there. But it made this exposure to this extremity of life made me think sometimes, and this really helped with my writing, that no matter what I'm thinking on the page, life truly is stranger than fiction most of the time.
Oh, life is so strange. I remember when I wasn't that far in. I was probably like three years qualified, and I was at Greenwich Magistrates Court, and I'd represented this shoplifter, and I got him a really good sentence, and he was really pleased. And I remember I was standing at the doors of the court, and I was talking to the security guard, and the client, he goes to me, "Oh, Nadine, just wait there 1 second, wait a second, I'll be back." And he disappeared. Not even like 2 minutes later, came back, pushed like a box of Quality Streets into my hand, just wanted to say thank you, and ran off. And then I thought to myself, he's probably nicked it from the And if you wrote it in a book, some people, they'll be like, "Nah, that would never happen."
Yeah.
I can't remember who said it, but there's a lovely quote about writing that said the difference between writing fiction and non-fiction is that fiction has to make sense. And so if you're writing,
that is so true.
You can't just turn around and go, "But it's a true story," because you're like, well, it didn't make any sense, and you're like, no, because that's people. People don't make any sense.
People don't make sense. But what sense would it make is you've been so close to getting a prison sentence, and you've managed to walk out the door, but your way of saying thank you is to go and do it again. A box of Quality Streets.
Quite sweet in a way, isn't it?
It was. I was kind of like, oh, that's so sweet, but
don't.
Now I'm handling stolen.
Don't do that. Just say thanks.
Can I ask a question?
No way.
Can a lawyer say no to people? Like, can they say, "I don't want to represent you"? Is that a stupid question?
No, it's not a stupid question, and technically we can't. We can only say no if it's a matter of that would be misleading the court.
Right.
So, if, for example, if you committed if you'd robbed Sean, for example, and you said, good luck. You said to me, "Nadine, I've been charged with robbing Sean. I did it, but I want to go in court and say that I didn't do it." Then I can't do that. I'll be misleading the court. So I'd say no, Chris, I can't do that.
You've known me for about half an hour, Nadine, right? I had to go into court and I had to decimate a granny. Like, I had to say, like, I had to bring a question, like her character into question. And she was like, you do what you've got to do, dearie. I don't know why it was in America. It wasn't in America. Sorry. She was the little archetypal granny figure. And
Disney.
I honestly, I felt like such scum, like ripping it a bit. And then at the end, I got the order we wanted. And at the end, she stood up and went, "It's not a problem." And she, cane was a folding one, and went and straight out the courtroom. Like, what?
I'm not.
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
It was, and like the limp was gone. The funny way of speaking was gone. That was my way of speaking, not hers.
Yeah.
That was a bit of embellishment. But yeah, and not like that. It's like when that was happening, I was like, "It's going to take a few notes here. Yeah, this is really good stuff. This is great stuff."
But it happens. That is stuff that actually happens. But I've had witnesses, and I don't think about it. I said I'm very good at compartmentalizing, and I do my job and I go home. But I think what's really surprising to, especially some of my clients who I've represented, is that like this persona you have now, because I'm quite laid back in real life, and I'd laugh at stupid nonsense. I don't take things that seriously. But in court, if I'm cross-examining someone, it's a completely different persona. And I've had a witness call me a bitch after I finished cross-examining her, and I'm like, anyway, next question. And my client could say to his mum, she's not like how she's outside. She ain't like that in there. She's horrible. Well, it's not even me being horrible. It's just me being. That's just how I cross-examine. That's just my style. That's just me being assertive. Yeah, it's a persona that you put on. But
you do have to do that. Like you really do, don't you? It is a performance. You have to deliver.
You do, and I've said to clients before, you've got to realise sometimes as well, jurors, they watch too much TV. So they want to see a show. And you can see the looks on their face when they don't feel like they're being entertained. We're not there to entertain you because it's serious, but you can see the looks on their face. But when you get those moments when you're cross-examining someone and you're really like proving to the court that they're lying, they've made the whole thing up, and you get that moment and you can see everyone's like this, like leaning forward in their chairs. But I've had police officers sit in court telling me, that I'm wrong and that they didn't know they were supposed to have done certain things in terms of law and in terms of doing their job. I had one police officer told me at the end after we got a case kicked out, he said, "I didn't know we were supposed to do all of that." I'm like, what are they teaching you in Tendon? It's like basic training. And then I had to...
Were you off that day?
I don't know where he was. Maybe he's playing Fortnite. I don't know what he was doing. But I did have one officer. Apparently I made him cry. I didn't even realise he was crying until the judge said, "Miss Matheson, I think it's time for a break." I'm like, "What for?" Like, I'm right in the middle of it.
Going to kill him. He's seconds away from crying.
You reduced him. Was he in a bad way?
Yeah, my friend was a co-defendant, so we were co-defending together, and he was like, "Nadine, you made him cry." And I was like, "I didn't make him cry." He's like, "You made him cry."
No,
he chose to cry.
Yeah,
That's
he cried. I didn't make him do it. I didn't
make him cry.
Right, bitch, cry.
I know. Those are fun moments. Those are light-hearted moments you can have. There are times when I've done the job and I've just thought to myself, I can't believe I'm representing this person because what they've been, what the offences are, it's so disgusting. But everyone's entitled to be represented, so you have to do your job, and I can't take how I feel personally into it. But there was a time I was like, no, this is wrong. This is
that was sort of where part of the inspiration for my character, my first novel, The Code, came from. I was talking to my dad years ago when the internet had sort of fired up, and obviously then quickly on the heels of that came child pornography and whatever. And there was no law to counter that growing as fast as the topic itself or the subject itself. And so he would say, that they would sit. He was Crown Prosecution Service, but they would sit trawling through all of this evidence, which was hideous, knowing that they'd get to court and some loophole in the technology law would allow people to walk away. Because there was no precedent set. There's nothing going on. And he was just like, it was the most heartbreaking thing, because you look at people, and even though you're prosecuting, you talk to your friends who are the defense lawyers and just go, he's going to get away, isn't he?
Yeah,
because it's letter of law, not emotional. But
It's exactly what the law says. But there was one occasion I was doing a case. I was at the Old Bailey, and my client had been charged with obscenity and exposing himself, and he denied it. And Bob would never do such a thing.
No,
Nadine.
That's why I do.
You are welcome. But I was he's in the witness box. I'm asking him, so we're doing this examination in chief. So I'm asking him questions. And then I'm having to stand there and I'm asking him questions about his sexual habits and how often he masturbated and all this crap. And I sat there and I hit my head and I'm saying to myself, my mum would be so proud of me. It's like, this is not why she wanted me to go to university, to stand up in court asking some
man about wanking.
I literally wanks off in a window.
Right, this is a disgrace. This is a family podcast.
It's not.
Sorry.
No, it's not. And it's never been a family podcast.
That's also the thing. It's the criminal. It's that criminal question of like, right, what is breaking the law and where's your intent and where's all of this? But it's like,
but
what goes behind these things?
Yeah, and I have to ask all those because it's all about the same thing. It's all about intent. So I have to ask these questions. And I was like, it's just not. My mum did not expect this. And I said, I'm going to be a sister.
Thank God my mum's still in Grenada.
Oh my God, she's never seen me in court. All she wants is a picture of me in my wig, and she's happy. She doesn't need to see like what the things I think.
I want to see the transcript, please.
No, God, no.
Oh God,
no.
Are you a Bond fan? I mean, really a Bond fan.
If you enjoy dreaming of what 1991 and 1993 Tim Dalton films would have looked like,
or if you have a degree in Octopussy but still don't know which Fabergé egg is a fake,
then the Really 007 podcast is for you.
Really 007.
We bring an insightful,
critical,
and silly take on the James Bond films.
We are proudly part of the Pod Dojo network and are available for free on iTunes and Spotify.
We have regular, in-depth reviews of every Bond film,
as well as special episodes on different aspects of the series.
And some of us are a bit down on the Craig era. Robert.
While others are happy to pretend to dislike things, just to get cheap laughs.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and join in on the James Bond conversation online.
Really 007.
There's quite a few author lawyers, isn't there? Talking about. Have you ever come into contact with any? I'm not asking about in court because I know you know you can go there. But like, do you see them out and about or anything like that?
What, in court or just in general?
Or just like on the circuit or anything like that? You know,
no,
like
I've met I met Steve Kavanagh because he was. I think he's the only one I've met actually. I haven't met. The thing is, I suspect I've seen Tony Kent.
Yeah.
In court, I think I've seen. I suspect I've seen him around because he does crime and he's always around. But I think Steve Kavanagh's the only one I've met out on the circuit. Because I think once I came out as a writer and I got my deal, it was like a year later. I was in lockdown, so it's like all the festivals I would have gone to. Everything's just gone online.
Oh, and do you have plans to go to the festivals when they?
Yeah, I think Harrogate is it going on? Because apparently I still had a hotel room reserved. I had it cancelled.
Yes. We'll see you there, shall we?
Yeah, we'll see you there. At the bar. Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be so
good. Like we've said a number of times, but I think we're all going to have to organise our organ donors, in the queue, have them signed up and contracted before any of us go to the first festival. Because for God's sake,
everything all lined up.
Just have a whole lot of young people with healthy organs.
I'm quite lightweight when it comes to alcohol as well. And somebody said on Twitter the other day, like, you're going to have to get going here. And I told them I'm on the Chumbawamba training plan.
Is there an app for that? I wouldn't mind, that.
I can make one, that could be my way out. Teach people to drink irresponsibly.
Chumbawamba.
Yeah, there could be copyright stuff there, and I'll have to iron it out. You could represent me.
Yeah, there you go.
Vested interest. We've got some Twitter questions if you want to bring it back to your writing.
Oh yeah, that thing I do.
Yeah, the reason you're here.
The reason I'm here.
Two people want to know. Two people, Surjit and Kestrel Carl, two people from Twitter, really love the book and they want to know what you're working on next.
I finished book 2, so I'm waiting for the edits. I'm waiting for my editor's notes to come back.
Sometimes.
Yeah, so that's the second one in the Henley series. So she will be back.
She is coming back. Wicked.
She is coming back. She's coming back with Remuta as well, because I kind of, without giving away any spoilers, Remuta kind of went through it a bit in that book, so she'll be back.
Slightly abused.
Slightly. There was a point when I was writing him, and I was like, poor thing. It's like, this is not what he had. This is not what he had in mind.
I really like him.
I know. And at the start, he's so misunderstood as well.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
When I had him in my head, I could imagine him just being like all fresh and new, like in his school uniform, all brand new. And I think in reality, it's kind of like that as well, that people have an image of what working in being a solicitor, being a criminal solicitor is like, and it can be a glamorous view of it. But the reality is there's no glamour. There's no glamour.
Like writing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no glamour. Not at all. Being stuck at Wembley police station at 4:00 in the morning, it's like, no, that is not a glamorous thing to do. So book 2's done. I'm doing a short story I'm working on at the moment and start planning book 3.
Is the short story
series? Yeah, crime anthology, yeah. So that's what I'm working on as well.
Awesome. I've got another one here from Surjit, actually, because I put the question out and said, have you got anything for Nadine? And Surjit jumped on here as well. So when he'd like to know when this next book might be due. He's also got a second question after that. But...
Oh, has it? I think it's due, I think it's July 20. What year are we in? God, 2022.
I know. It's
life is a mess at the moment.
Yeah.
Summer 22.
And Surjit's second question is, what is Nadine's favourite book and author? Yeah.
I can't, that's hard because I have a few, but I can tell you the book that made me want to write crime.
Oh, yeah.
That was American Tabloid by James Elroy.
Oh, nice.
And I think I was 9. I used to work in a bookshop when I was at uni, so I worked in books, etc., which I think became Borders, which then became Borders. Yeah. Nice. So that was like my favourite part-time job because I didn't do anything. I didn't do any work. I just read because
cool.
The branch I worked in was in Canary Wharf, and back then, like late 90s, there was nothing in Canary Wharf. It was us and Boots, a Tesco's, and I think a Taylor's, and that was it. So hardly anyone used to come. So I used to spend my time reading. And that's when I picked up American Tabloid by James Elroy. And I remember reading, because I love like conspiracy theories and all that, the 1960s eras. I love all that. And I remember reading it thinking, I've never read anything like this, and I want to write like this, but there's no way in hell I could ever write like James Elroy. And I think I just God, all his books, I just took everything. I mean, I didn't get it from the shop, but like,
oh no, neat stuff. You're on it.
Like I need to put a disclaimer on everything, but yeah, no. But that was, I think, American Tabloid. I mean, I've still got. If you saw my copy downstairs, it's so battered because I took it everywhere with me. But that was my favourite book. Yeah, that's the book that made me want to write.
That's amazing.
Jeez, that's far more highbrow than mine, which was Spike Milligan's book of Milligan. It was just the most incredibly inventive bit of poetic work ever that you're just like, this is fantastic. His poem about the baboon, I'm not going to lie. If I'd written that, I'd retire. It was good. It was funny. It was local. It was ideal. It's just beautiful.
I do wish I'd written The Spy Who Came In From the Code by John Le Carre. I was just I love that book. And The Talented Mr. Ripley. So I have a few.
So much more highbrow than me.
I didn't think I was highbrow. from
No,
Deptford.
because they're like the you know.
Welcome to the Guffer
Titans.
podcast.
Yeah.
I've got Spike Milligan's Poems for Children, and Rob's probably going to say Jaws, I'd imagine.
Rob's sat here with a Van Damme poster behind him. Rob's not appealing to anybody at this point.
This is the thing. We're not that. If I was downstairs, you'll see my comic book collection. So that is not
nice.
Yeah, and all my posts. Yeah, we're in the wrong room. So I have my highbrow moments, but.
I mean, is this the business area? Is this
the highbrow room?
Yeah, I'm in the business area. I'm such a comic book geek. It's ridiculous.
Seriously? Oh,
yeah.
What I want you to do is go into schools and talk to teachers about how comic books are a good thing to get kids reading.
They are a good thing.
They're amazing things, and I've had nephews throughout who've only started reading because they love comic books or manga or whatever. And just don't diss them for reading if they love reading.
No, I think it means they're reading something. And I think I've got two younger brothers, and I think I was 9. So my brothers one would have been 10, the other one would have been about 5. And our uncle gave us a massive box of like Marvel comics, and that's how we got into comics. So we were reading like Fantastic Four and Mighty Four and Spider-Man, all of that. And that's how we got into comics. And if your kid's not going to pick up a book, but they'll pick up a comic book, they're reading. So
it's words and story, and sometimes it's all condensed into sort of archetypes and stereotypes and whatever. But it's absolutely primal, and so you just kind of go, "This is it." If you want the building blocks of story, get a comic.
Yeah, and I think also even like as adults writing, I think characterizations. You can learn a lot of that through the whole heroes and villains things in comic books.
I couldn't agree more. I think that as well, it's such a unique medium as well with its relationship with static frame and text that it can deliver a poignancy that other mediums can't. So I totally agree.
My secret dream is to work for DC Comics.
DC
Comics. I want them to give me a job, just a little issue, like a mini issue. No, I need to read it.
We have Paul here, Nadine. We've got Paul here.
We'll tag him.
I definitely have a friend who's the editor of the Beano, if that's any
I want to write for the Beano. Can we do that?
You can do that. I got into so I was a film and TV writer. I got into novel writing because I was asked by a company I was writing some scripts for to write the script for a graphic novel they were doing for the iPad. And it was such an amazing experience working with the artists and going, right, what's in the frame and what needs to be in the text, like what's in dialogue, what's in the sort of the preamble, where do we go, what's the looping through, and it was amazing. And then the publishers for the graphic novel, digital graphic novel, said, "This is an amazing world you built. Can you write us a novel?" And I was like, "Yeah, how hard is that?"
Do that.
And they were like, "You've got 3 months, and we need 6 20,000 word." Beats of it. So 120,000 words, 3 months. Let's go. I was like, yeah, I'm sure that's fine. It was quite difficult, turned out, but it got it done.
While we're in the film and TV area, it's been optioned, hasn't it? The Jigsaw Man.
It has. It's been optioned. It was. Remember in the beginning, I said it was all mad, like getting an agent and getting the deal. Then it got optioned. I think it was. I signed with HQ in March, and it got optioned in July.
Wow!
The same, yeah. So
well before it came out.
Yeah, well before. Even before I'd even got my edit notes back.
That is amazing. You know you're onto a good thing then. Flipping it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of strange. You're just thinking, you want my book? Like, you want my book to be on TV? It's like, that's crazy. So
doesn't that make you proud that you just kind of go, wait a second, everybody's going to see somebody who looks like you as a DI on TV?
Yeah.
It does. And when you think about like where my parents are from Grenada, like my mum and dad came over. I think my mum was like 14 and my dad was probably the same age, 15. So like in the late 60s, they came to Grenada. Came to London from Grenada. And, dad, me, my 2 brothers, and we brought up here in Southeast London. So you got this whole working class background that we have. But we've always worked hard, and that's always been the main thing they've instilled in you. Like, work hard, go to school, and they never said they wanted us to be lawyers and doctors. It's just do the thing that you're passionate about. So to see all of that, and then to see, like, my mum and dad, like, they're so over the moon about it. My mum's ridiculous though, because she's like, it's so gruesome. Why can't you write about magic?
But that's every crime writer's mum, isn't it? Then they just go, "Is all of this in your head?" Well, I mean, why must it be so dark?
This is my child. It's like, what?
Do you sometimes freak her out by going, "Look what you've done"?
Yeah, I say, this is your fault. I mean, you made us.
Yeah, like when she just reprimands you that one time too many around the Christmas table, and you go, "You see, this is why I write crap.
This is why I write crap. It's me getting payback." The funny thing is, my grandmother, my dad's mum, she was a reverend. Like, she had her own church as well. So this is like full stuff.
Chris, didn't you have to apologise to your reverend friend for the language and gore in your?
Yeah. Robert McMullen, my best friend Ross, he's known me since I was about 13. I've been around his house and stuff, and when I saw that he was like, "I've bought your book," I was like, "Oh my god!" Before I say thank you, I have to say sorry. Like, I've never sworn in front of him. I've always been like the mild-mannered, quiet little boy, and now he's gonna see like a slit throat on page 1. And
yeah. That's all I've been getting, like, since the book's been coming out, and like family and friends have been reading it. Like, Nadine,
what is wrong with you?
Yeah. What is wrong with you? Like, you're not like this. I'm like, no, of course I'm not like that in real life. You know
I mean, look, Chris is a primary school teacher. You should have seen the parents' faces when they all bought his book in support and then came in and went, "I was looking after my child."
Yeah. Like,
my godson's 7 years old, and I was saying, my godson, he's 7 years old, and he's determined. Like, he had a go at his mum. He's like, "I need to read Auntie Nadine's book because she wrote it." And she's like, "It's not for you." And he's like, "But it's got Auntie's name on it. She wrote it. Read it." I'm like, "No, you're gonna have to wait. This is so not for you." Not yet.
It's a really hard one to explain, isn't it? All the little people in your life, you just like, no, because no.
No. There's just no, it's not yet.
There's only a point where you can go, "There's too many boobies in it." You won't like it. Not yet.
That sounds like a reverse of my first agent, because I refused to write about that. So, anything sort of sexy. She was like, "We need more. We need more of that." So, no, I've accidentally.
Your first agent surely didn't ask you to write more about sex, because you call it Rudy Prod or Rudy Doody or whatever you. I mean, you can't even say
Rudy Prod. I don't know. I don't do that.
No, Rudy Prod's too much for you.
That is
Rudy
very.
Doody, I think.
I don't do that at all. No.
Rudy Doody scenes.
I didn't want any Rudy Doody scenes in my novels. But then again, Sean has been good enough to in the next few weeks. I've got a horror coming out, Nadine.
Have you?
It was an accident. It started getting minging. And you were talking about your mum. Like, my mum literally, like, she said, "I've got to be the first to read everything you do." So she read it. And there is a scene in this book that when I was writing, it was like, do we do this? Do we? Yeah, we're going to do this. I can't say what it's about, and I'm going to put a great big beep in it. But would one of you guys like to say what happens in this scene?
There's basically some
Oh.
And it's absolutely the most disgusting thing that's ever happened.
Rob!
You thought Rob was nice, didn't you?
He's not nice.
I really did. And now
I did too.
His mum's not speaking to him anymore.
He's read it.
You're gonna call a priest for you.
Honestly, what can we do? Because it was like, I'm right. The first time I've ever written in another genre, and I was like, "What can I do here? We could make it proper minging, couldn't we? We could make it. Let's go over this cliff edge of minging." And
I think when I gave you the edit notes on that, I put "ew" on the.
That was all you put in that whole chapter.
And then I put "ew."
Yeah.
But I did wonder, like, even when I was writing the Jigsaw Man, it's like, well, how far can I go? How far should I take it? And I shouldn't really be second guessing myself. I'm like, I mean, I said I've never represented a serial killer, but it's not. I've had other people's cases where people committed murder and they've done the most disgusting things. So it does happen, but I was second guessing myself putting that in a book.
So I was writing a scene yesterday morning, and I wrote a line and just thought, no, I'm not comfortable with that. That's taken it. I mean, and you know, like, and my partner then was reading it now and going, "What is wrong with you?" And I'd taken that line out, so I'd downscale the hideousness to the point where you get when people who know you look at you and go, "What is wrong with you?" Then you're like, "Okay, I'm glad I took that line out."
But I think the scary thing for me was that all the scenes that I wrote, even now, I didn't think they were that gruesome. I thought they were quite tame. But Chris is just not.
We've had this, yeah.
Well, Chris and I both, because I published Chris's first book, and then we sort of sat there, and the first review started coming back and going, "Oh my god, it's gruesome! It's so dark!" And we were like, "Oh, have we missed something?" And I suppose it is quite dark when you look at it with fresh eyes.
Yeah, I think when you're in it, because
that's very good.
It's your world, so you just don't don't see it. It's like you kind of go snowblind to it. In a sense.
But if it feels natural for the world and the characters, then you go, it's not too dark. But otherwise, you're creating some kind of pastel version of reality, and you know yourself that what you've seen in reality is far harsher and more graphic and gruesome than what you could get away with putting in a book realistically.
Yeah.
So,
I said there's stuff I've done. Well, not me personally. There's cases I've worked.
There's the disclaimer again.
There's the disclaimer. No, but there's cases I've worked on. Yeah. Thank you. I'll send you a visiting order. But no, but there's cases I've worked on, and I would just, as I said, you would think no one would ever believe that these sort of people exist and these sort of people have done these sort of offences. You just wouldn't think so, but it happens. But I suppose I'm able to, I said, compartmentalise, and I'm able to detach myself from it, so I don't take it on. I said if I took it on emotionally, the cases I'd worked on, I don't think I would have lasted 6 months.
No, you can't as well. I think it's especially in defence. I think you can't.
Yeah.
You just go, right, we live in a democracy. We live in a place where law has a role. This is what my job is to uphold that.
Yeah. Someone asked me, I think it was a student, and I think they asked me if we got counselling. I was like, who gets counselling? Like, the lawyers don't get counselling.
The lawyers
go
get
and do your job.
Yeah. It's a different story altogether. Spelled wrong.
Completely different story.
Oh, God.
Should we play a game?
Do we have a light-hearted game?
We do have a light-hearted game. Now, usually we play a 1-star game, but your book's been so well reviewed that there's only been 1 star, and the guy was boring, so I didn't pick his things. So what I've done instead was
the 1 star. I love it.
We look at what else he reviewed, and it was all books, and it was all boring. So I've picked 3 items which made me laugh, pretty much, and what you have to do is tell me whether the person liked it or didn't.
So which person is this? Is it somebody who reviewed in a positive?
I googled funny reviews, positive and negative, so it's they're good. They made me laugh. I had to whittle it down from about 20 because I was having a lovely afternoon to myself. So I've got 3, and the first one. So all you have to do is tell me like it or not. And the first one is the 2016 film version of Deadpool.
No, I didn't like it.
Didn't like it, okay.
I mean, I don't know anybody who did like it.
The first one, I quite liked it. I thought it was good.
I did, yeah.
All of my friends are like, this is not right. No, they don't like this.
I'm got a little hand. It was incredible. So... That's Rob's next book.
Stop it.
So Nadine, this person doesn't like it. Rob, Sean?
Doesn't like it.
I'm saying no.
No, I actually because if we all go the same, for the being different, as in for the purposes of the game to be exciting, I will go. Absolutely flipping loved it.
Well done, Rob. You're
Yes!
No, I'm saying well done for being sporting, but they hated it. Well done for bringing the excitement, but you are right.
Yes, points for us.
The review is I love Ryan Roberts. I love Ryan Roberts, but I hope someday his children don't see this movie.
Fair enough.
Oh, I knew I wasn't going to get past the name. So good. The next thing is, you know the things you put on your window so that the heat doesn't get in like a car. It's like sort of a metallic.
Those reflective things.
Yeah. So
I don't know why I'm doing that, but yeah.
It helped me. Do they like it or do they not like it?
No, I don't think.
I'm going with not like it.
I don't think it reflected anything. Those things are a piece of rubbish.
Pure adoration from me. They loved it. They want 100 of them.
Okay, so this is an Amazon verified purchase, and they liked it.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes!
He said, I love this product. It keeps my car nice and cool, but I will say that the only defect I have found so far is that it's very hard to drive with it on. I've had over 5 crashes since I purchased it.
I love people.
After my first fender bender, I decided it was best to roll down the window and stick my head out to see the road. But even that's hard because my eyes and mouth dry out very quickly. Since then, I've purchased some swimming goggles and a snorkel, which has helped me out tremendously on long drives.
This is an author who's got too much time.
Yeah.
And then he's just got the edit notes in, and they couldn't be bothered to do them, so they've taken the right to Amazon reviews instead.
How would you even describe that activity? This evening I'm going snorkel, reflector, windscreen, driving.
Well, it's like a variation of bog snorkeling, I guess.
It is a little bit.
Motorway snorkeling.
Incredible.
Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the final item, so this is for the win because everyone's got 1 point so far.
Yeah.
And it's the same person. So if that plays in your mind. White toilet brush and holder.
I want to say didn't like. No, I'm going to say he loved it.
He loved it. Okay.
He loved it.
I was determined on this one not to agree with Nadine, so I'm going to say he hated it.
Okay.
I'm still going to
rubbish.
I'm going to still stay. I'm a font of positivity on this. I think he loved this. This was iconic for him.
Okay. 1 star. Agony.
No.
Wait for this is gold.
Agony.
I don't know how these things have caught on. Absolute agony and quite disgusting to use. Call me old-fashioned, but I'll be sticking with toilet paper.
No.
No, he did not write that.
This is definitely an author with too much time.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to start reading the review. See, I'm convinced that someone's going to give me 1 star because they expected to get a jigsaw puzzle and not an actual book. I'm convinced it's going to happen.
Seriously, there are a number of things. Robbie, you had a 3-star review that just said book, didn't you? Yeah. 3 stars, book.
Well, I had someone tagged us on Instagram. I got tagged in a review, and she said it didn't leave her warm and happy. And I was like,
oh,
did you not see the tagline?
Oh my word! You could spend about 8 seconds on Amazon's sales page for that for the book, and realise that warmth and happiness might not be.
I am not promising warmth and happiness in the Jigsaw Man.
I mean,
That's
the
the main
fact that
I'm
the
going to
body
use
parts
that.
were in the Thames means they weren't warm in the first place. So I mean, there's no
you
warmth.
mean the creek, Sean? In the creek.
In the creek.
In the creek.
This is where we ask what everyone's reading, isn't it? Nadine, what are you reading?
Oh, I'm reading my friend's book, which is out in Wednesday. I think it's out in June, called The Colours of Death. So I got a proof of that, and then I'm going to read The Light Seekers. After that, I have a whole. My TBR pile's ridiculous. So that's my plan. Then I've also got a bunch of comics I need to read.
Yeah.
The Colours of Death is a great title.
It's fantastic. It's so good. Hers is a mix of police procedural and a bit of speculative fiction. So her detective is what they call gifted. So yeah, look out for that.
Sounds
very cool.
It's such a great title as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's so exciting.
Because I don't because I'm doing all the submissions for publishing as well. I don't get a lot of other time for free reading, but Steve Gold's, who we published his Say Goodbye When I'm Gone, he just submitted his next one, and it's called I'll Pray When I'm Dying, and it's the most incredible book.
Oh.
It's a ballad to the bad man, and it reflects the life of the villain of one of his other books, but gives you that entire reasoning, and it's a really, really difficult and uncomfortable read for all the right reasons, and that you've got this character who's is absolutely abhorrent, but they're human, and he makes them painfully human, and it's the most incredible thing. So I'll pray when I'm dying. I just emailed him yesterday and said, or on Friday, and said, I've read it. It's nearly perfect. We'll take it. He was like,
"Oh,
what a title as well!"
Yeah,
I'll pray when I'm dying.
Great titles, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
That's the sort of title you get jealous about.
About
that title.
I know. I get jealous about all these titles, to be fair, but it's just he's got an old noir heart, and it really shines through on this. It's when you talk about writing like James Ellroy, you're just like, there's certain voices where you look at him and you're like, you young buck, and then you read his work and you go, Jesus, there's life in it, and it's beautiful stuff. Anyway, so that's what I've just finished reading.
Nice. I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about what I'm reading, but it's from because it's a new one from Mr. Robert Scragg, and it's got agents knocking on his door and publishers knocking on his door, wondering what's going on here. And that's all I can say.
What about you, Chris?
I am reading Right to Kill by John Barlow, which it looks like.
Oh, I've got that.
I'd say get on it. It's so good. I saw Dom Nolan tweet about it, and I was straight onto the publicist being like, "Is there any chance?" She actually got onto me. I sort of put, when you put yourself out there and you're like, I don't want to ask, but I'm going to express interest. But I started it last night, and I'm on page 150.
Dude,
it is so good. The chapters are so short. When it's like 3 pages, but you're like, well, I need to know what happens next, and then it's just so like. It's so good. So yeah, John Barlow, Right to Kill.
I came on, and I was the second one on. Chris was already on the call when I joined, and he was deep in the book.
Yeah,
Hello.
Oh, I got to read. Yeah, my copy. I think it arrived Thursday. But, yeah, I've got it. So I'll get onto it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm going to go and find out who sent you that, Chris, and then I'm going to go and have a little bit of a cheeky word.
Yeah, you should. It's really good. I think it's out in June, but yeah, he's an incredible writer.
It's funny with short chapters because I didn't realise my chapters were short until I saw the proofs. When you're working on, I work on Scrivener, and then I transfer it into a Word document when I'm doing the edit.
So much longer.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you're working through it on Word, it doesn't. You just going through A4 pages, and then when I got the proof, I was like, oh, these chapters are actually quite all that pain. And this chapter is like, oh,
When you're going, yeah, nailed another chapter. Oh, only 2 pages.
and it was like, this was two pages.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. It's only when I got the proof I realised that, because it just, I said it was pain. Sometimes you're like,
It is pain to write. It doesn't matter if it's 2-page chapters or 100-page chapters.
Yeah.
It's like some days you can sit there and if you do 150 words, that's all you're going to get. You can spend all day doing that, and then other days it just flows. You're like, oh
yeah. Yesterday I had one of those days where I was like, yeah, right. And now I've done 1700. I'm feeling pretty good. And then I came downstairs, made a cup of coffee, put my laptop up. Thought I was going to do some other bits of business, and then just suddenly there were another 1,000 words sitting there. And I'm like, today was one of those days.
It was one of those days.
3 weeks of 0 words. 3,000 words in one day. I could pace this better. This would. But anyway, listen, I digress. We're going to have to.
Yes. It's so great to hang out with you tonight, Nadine.
Yeah,
thank you
so much.
I've had so much fun. Thank you so much. You're a great bunch.
Thank you.
You're coming back to the festival, aren't you? You're coming back to our festival.
Oh, hell
I am. Yeah, I am. I'm coming to your festival.
You are. I'm so excited.
It's going to be good.
The maddest weekend with the 3 of us trying to organise something useful.
How's that going for you?
Yes, it's super.
At least if it all goes wrong, we can just replay this episode. It's been good, I think.
Only invite already and then just roll them back to back.
Yeah.
Massive good luck and congrats for Tuesday.
Thank you so much. It is.
And we'll see you for... no, I know. And we'll see you for a what's the expression?
Drink.
An aperitif.
A drink.
Yeah, a drink. Yeah.
Been so long for him, bless him. The last thing we should be talking to somebody who writes about parts of a body washing up on the thing is a pair of teeth. I just don't think that's the thing we should be mentioning.
That is a quality way to go out, Sean. That is, have it there and get out.
And love you all. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Love everyone.
Bye.
See you later. Take care. Bye-bye.